Hey everybody, so it's me and I'm back again with another recap of 90 Day Fiance. This is part 1. I had to do this recap in 2 parts because y'all, we just got too much to discuss. So I normally save this girl to the end because she just gives us so much mess and drama, but I said why wait this week? So we're gonna start out with Nicole and Azan. This week, Nicole and Azan are still planning their wedding in Morocco. So Nicole is still hell-bent on going over there and marrying Azan because why not? So the first scene, she goes to visit her pastor, which I've never heard Nicole really talk about going to church or a pastor. So I thought it was real funny how a pastor popped up. I think it was sort of the pastor where you don't really go to church except for like Christmas service and Easter, but you still call me a pastor because you still technically a member of the church because they baptized you when you were 11. So they go to this marriage counseling session, which I've never seen a marriage counseling session done with a person by themselves. Marriage counseling is typically for couples, right? But of course, Azan's not there. So this isn't really marriage counseling in my opinion. This is just therapy for Nicole. Because the pastor looked like she was Nicole's cousin, first of all. Second of all, she looked like she wanted to talk Nicole out of it in a real nice way. She didn't want to be too forward with pushing her to be like, don't go to Morocco. But you could tell the Lord had spoke to her and he told her, this is not a good idea. You don't need to go. But anyway, so they sit down and they start talking about Azan and their relationship, and Nicole starts saying something, I don't know. And so then finally the pastor suggests that they call him. So they're like, okay, you know, why don't we call him on the phone and then he can tell us about, you know, whatever. So Nicole picks up the phone and she calls Azan, and the conversation went a little something like this. Azan, hey. Hello, how are you?
You're on speakerphone and I'm here with my pastor, and we're just wanting to talk about our relationship.
Okay, great, fine, thank you.
Okay, well, she just wants to know about me coming to Morocco and us getting married.
Okay, yes, I'm very excited about wedding.
Okay, well, that's all we wanted to know. Thank you, and I love you, baby.
Yes, I love you too. Okay, bye. Now, I don't think Miss Pastor was very convinced of that conversation. Azan sounded dry. Azan always talks to Nicole on the phone like it pains him to speak to her. Like, talking to her literally is painful to him. There is never any love in his voice. There's never any tenderness, any hey baby. He never sounds excited. Like, how often do they really get to talk? Because apparently his reception is always bad. That's what he says. And so it's like you're not talking a whole lot. So you should be really excited when your fiance calls you from across the world, right? But no, he's never excited to hear from her. He's never excited to talk to her. He always sounds super dry, super like he's just over it. And I'm like, this girl really thinks this man likes her? The counseling session with the pastor ends and really nothing changes. Nicole's still going to Morocco. So we fast forward later and Nicole and May are packing their closetment to go to Morocco. May is being real cute. You know, May is my girl. Every episode, and I don't like kids, y'all. Every episode, May just kind of steals another little piece of my heart. She is such a cute little kid. She's, you know, trying to help mommy. Of course, Nicole's scolding her because she's getting in the way, but she's just so cute to me. Like, I just like May a whole lot, and I hate that this is happening to her. But anyway, Nicole and May are packing for Morocco, and then they cut to an interview with Nicole, and she's sitting there just talking to the producers about I don't know what, and then her phone rings. She gets a call from her friend, and they put up on the screen that her friend is telling her about these voice recordings of Azan talking to some other girl. So she's all confused. So she runs off. She finally looks and finds the recordings, and they play them. And Azan is whispering all into the phone, honey, like he's being sexy. And I don't even know what. It was real weird. He was talking about kissing somebody, talking about kiss me through the phone like he's Soulja Boy. And saying that I know you want it and the kiss was good and I liked it and I know you liked it and girl, you know you want this. And I mean, Nicole is hearing words from Azan that she has never heard herself. Azan has never spoken to her in this way. He has never whispered sweet nothings into the phone to her, talking about he wanted to kiss her and I know you liked it, girl, I know you want this. And so she is distraught, honey. And so she runs into the bathroom, slams the door on the producers. The producers are trying to follow her, trying to ask her a question, what's happening, what's going on. So she calls Azan. Somehow Azan has picked up the phone twice on the first couple rings in the same episode, and I am shooketh. So she is on the phone, and the conversation went a little something like this. Azan, why am I hearing voice recordings of you talking to a girl saying that you want to kiss her? wasn't me.
You said you wanted to kiss her. Why would you do this?
It wasn't me.
I can't believe you would say these things to somebody that you should only be saying to me.
Baby, it wasn't me.
I need you to explain this because I don't understand. Explain to me what happened.
Okay, my friends made me call and we were drunk and we were joking around. And I don't know these people anymore. You are the only thing for me. You are my only one and only who sends me money every month.
Really?
Yes, baby. I promise you. You have to start trusting me. It was just a joke.
Okay, so you promise when I come to Morocco that you're gonna prove to me 100%?
Yes, baby. You have to believe me.
Okay. All right. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, good night. So Azan gets out of this by basically saying that his friends were joking around one night and they were drunk and made him call some girl, and I don't know who recorded it. I don't know if the friends recorded it. I don't know if the girl recorded it, but he says his friends put him up to it and that it was all a joke and he doesn't even know these people anymore, that she is the only one for him and she's his one and only because she's sending them Western Unions every month. And Nicole falls for it. I mean, Nicole just believes him. Now, I don't think that Nicole really believes that it's true. I think she knows that Azan is probably talking to other women. I think deep down inside, she knows the truth. She knows that her and Azan are not a good match, but Azan has said that he will marry her. And I think she wants to go forward with this wedding so bad that she is going to be blind to everything else. So she just says, okay, fine, I'm still coming to Morocco. She tells the producers outside on the patio she's still going, and he's going to have to prove to her, I don't know what. She didn't say. She just said he's going to have to prove 110%. Prove what, Nicole? Like, prove what? That he wasn't talking to that girl? Well, we just heard him. It was clearly Azan's voice. I know Azan's voice. It was him. And what is he proving to you exactly? I don't understand this. This makes absolutely no sense to me. What do you want him to prove to you? Prove to you that that he's living off of you? Prove to you that the only reason that he's agreeing for you to come to Morocco is because you keep sending him money every month? Prove to you that you basically bought a fiance? I don't understand. What is it that you proving? What is it that he has to prove to you? That he wasn't talking to that girl? We just heard him. Like, the proof is in the tape. So Nicole has bypassed all reason at this point. She cannot be helped. She is beyond help. Somebody needs to help May. She still says she's going to Morocco even after hearing the tape of him clearly talking to some other girl talking about kiss me through the phone. I don't know what's wrong with this girl. This is what happens when you have absolutely no self-esteem. You will do anything to keep a man despite him doing you wrong over and over and over again. And it's sad. Fast forward and Nicole and May are packing again. Child, they got one room. Why is it taking so long for them to pack up this one closet? She's talking about that she still wants to go to Morocco, and then they fast forward a little bit longer and she goes back to the bridegroom Cathedral of the Cross, Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints bridal gown shop. Whatever. She meets her friend Jessica there. Now, Jessica looked entirely way too normal to be friends with Nicole. I mean, this girl looked like a regular old girl that you would see working at a Barnes & Noble. Her and Nicole hug outside. And then Jessica has her own little interview and talks about how she basically doesn't think that it's a good idea that Nicole is going to Morocco. I think that TLC loves to do the whole fake friends thing. I honestly am not sure if Jessica and Nicole are actually friends. My theory is that Jessica is the property manager of those closets that Nicole rents out. And so that's how they became friends. But I don't think she's really friends with her. That just seemed like a weird friendship. She didn't really seem concerned about Nicole when she started crying in the dressing room. She was trying on her dress. I mean, she really didn't seem that concerned, but some people are just, you know, not emotional like that. But I just didn't see a friend connection with them. I think she might be like a Ramon. Nicole goes to try on her dress one last time because they have altered it to fit her, and she's leaving for Morocco in a couple days, so she's got to go pick it up. They said they've added the corset, but somehow it made the dress fit even worse. We got to think of a name for Nicole's boobs because those things take up so much land space that they need their own name. They got to have a birth certificate and a social security card because they got to weigh 80 pounds apiece. Those things were pushed up and spilling over. Baby, her cup runneth over with boobage. I think I'm going to name them Big Bertha and Gertrude. So Big Bertha and Gertrude were jumping out of the dress because they just wanted to be seen for the wedding. I googled Moroccan style weddings and looked up the dresses, but all I really saw was the traditional Moroccan style dress. Now, according to Nicole, she said that she gets to wear one dress from her culture and then 5 dresses from the Moroccan culture. Now, the Moroccan dresses, you are fully covered. Some women even had on their hijabs, and they looked amazing and stunning, but there was no skin showing. So I don't know how these Moroccans, who are probably all going to be covered themselves, are going to react when Big Bertha and Gertrude come to the party. The dress fits worse. It was wrinkling in the bodice. I don't know who altered this dress because they didn't do a very good job of it. It was a terrible alter job. It looked like they just did it to squeeze her in it because she still looked like a pig in a blanket. The hog mogs and the ham hocks were still hanging out the back. It was giving a weird angle to her boobs right here. It gave like these weird like lines in her armpits, and her boobs were like pushed in. It looked bad. It wasn't a pretty flattering dress to me. I think she should have picked a different one, but this is the one she's going with. So Nicole starts to think about what's really happening, that this is all real, that she's going to Morocco soon. And she starts to have what she called a panic attack. I don't really think Nicole had a panic attack. I think she probably heard the phrase panic attack one time on a TV show, and so she said she was having one. Really, it's just a little anxiety because she knows Azan is cheating on her, and she knows she's getting scammed, and she can't believe she's about to go do this, but she's in too deep now, so she's going. So she starts to cry and say that it's just all too overwhelming, and then her friend and the wedding gown lady come in there and try to console her. But eventually she snaps out of it like she always does and gets right on back to packing. She's trying to stuff the last few bottles of her Bath & Body Works body splash into that suitcase because it won't zip. She finally decides to throw out the workout clothes because who is she kidding? She don't need any workout clothes. My first thought was, okay, so when Azan dragged you to that gym and you doing them squats and you crying because your thighs are chafing because all you got to put on is jeans to wear to the gym, you're going to regret throwing out those workout clothes. So they pack up their last little bits of garbage and whatever little clothes and toys they have for May and zip up the suitcases, and she spends her last night with Robbie Lee and May, and then they get up early the next morning to go to the airport to go to Morocco. On the ride in the car, Nicole is still talking about how stressed out she is and how worried she is, and Robbie Lee's just trying to give her one last plea. Please don't go, please don't take May, but of course she's not listening at all. So they get to the airport. They've got all their 72 bags, honey, on those little luggage carts, and they're rolling, and May's riding on the back of a suitcase. And once again, May is just my kind of girl. May is riding on the back of that suitcase, and they're rolling in, and about to get in the line to check in and get the boarding pass and everything. And Azan calls, or she called Azan, I'm not really sure which. And he's on the phone, and he wants to know why his money was short this month. Azan is like a pimp. Y'all know how when the prostitutes have to pay a cut of their pay to the pimp, and if they short, they're gonna catch a backhand? That's basically how Azan is, because he is not happy that the money that she told him was gonna be there is $200 short. So she tries to explain and say, well, I had to pay for all these 82 bags that I'm bringing to Morocco, and I have to pay for each bag that I check, and that's not cheap, so I got to pay my money back the $200, and that's why your money was short. And she was like, let's not discuss this on the way I'm about to get on the plane. Like, can we not argue? I'm about to come see you. And so we can't hear what Azan is saying, but Robbie Lee picks up on the conversation, and when they get off the phone, she basically asks what's going on, and Nicole basically says that Azan was a little bit miffed because the money that she told him was going to be there wasn't there on time. Robbie Lee's like, was he mad that it wasn't the amount that you said it was going to be? And Nicole was basically trying to not answer. It's none of your business about our financials. And basically, it's not your financials, Nicole, because we all know Robbie Lee giving you money. And so the Starbucks money was short this month. Azan is not excited. We saw in the previews that he did pick her up from the airport, so I thought for sure he was going to be mad and not pick her up, but he did. But anyway, Robbie Lee is trying to make one last plea for May because she does not want May to go. She's hugging her, telling she loves her, and May's like, okay. And she's like, no, I love you. I'm going to miss you. And May's like, okay. May just cracks me up to no end. She's my favorite character on this stupid show. And so she gives Nicole a big hug and it's just like, please be safe. Please take care of yourself and May. Please, please, please let this be real. And she watches them walk off into the sunset, and little May is just waving. She still don't have her leash on yet, but as soon as they cross over those international waters, she's going to have to hook that leash to her because she's going to be wild in the streets. Robbie Lee interviews at the end, and she's just crying and praying and hoping that he is not scamming her, but she knows deep down that he is, and she knows this all going to be a disaster. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens next, but whew, that was a lot. That was Nicole and Azan. I hate to do it, but we have to move on to the next couple. Okay, so next we're going to move on to Russ and Paola. I'm going to get through them real quick because I don't really have much to say. So we cut back to Russ and Paola at the club with Juan. They're still arguing. Russ is trying to get Pao to leave. And Pao is still acting like she can't choose between her friend and her husband. And so finally they do get up and walk out. And Pao is blaming Russ, saying that he started it with Juan when he came at him when the dinner even started. And that's why Juan was acting a fool. It really doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you know your friend is disrespectful and you have to pick your husband. Husbands trump friends. Period. I don't get what the whole thing is. This is all fake. The whole scene was fake. The arguing in the street was fake. They're wandering around through the streets of Colombia arguing. Russ is yelling loudly, which he's probably never done in his life. I heard the muscle straining when he tried to yell. And it just so happens that Juan and his friend are still hanging out in a back alley, and they just happen to walk by arguing. And that's when Russ and Juan go at each other. Russ tries to reach for Juan like he's gonna fight him, but it didn't look like a fight was ever gonna happen, and Paola's holding him back barely. It was the worst fake fight scene I've ever seen. TLC really could have kept that. Paola's still trying to break up the fight, and somehow she grabs his jacket and Russ takes the jacket off, and I don't know why I'm even talking about this so long. It was a fake fight scene. They get in the taxi and they start arguing, and basically Russ is mad because Pao didn't take his side, and she's still trying to blame him for what happened because she thinks that if he hadn't have said what he said at the beginning, that maybe the night would have gone well, and it wouldn't have, because Juan just doesn't like Russ. End of story. I don't know why we're still arguing about this. Your friend doesn't like your husband. He disrespects him, and you got to choose your man. They don't have to be friends. They don't have to hang out ever. Like, ever. They don't ever have to hang out with each other. I don't see why she keeps trying to force this friendship on them. So they're still having this fake argument. Fast forward, cut them back to their hotel room, and they're still having this fake argument. They clearly are reading lines off of a script that TLC producers gave them, because they weren't even in a fluid conversation. It was pauses and strange lingers in the conversation as if they couldn't remember what they were supposed to say. Pao is a Latina, and when Latinas get angry, honey, they go at you. There's not going to be any pauses for breath. They're going to be swinging. He might have got scratched with a long fingernail. She would have quickly went into Spanish to cuss him out. I mean, it would have been a fiery argument, and it just wasn't. It was clearly fake. She storms out the room, and that's how they leave it with them two. Still arguing over Juan, which is the only storyline they have, which is the only reason why we're still talking about it. I really don't have anything else to say. The whole thing was staged. It was all fake. They clearly had lines or a storyline that they were fed and had to stick to. It just didn't seem natural. It was not fluid at all. I'm so over this couple. TLC, we need to replace them. If this is the best you can do with them two, they need to go. They better not be on the next season. That's all I got to say. Next. Okay, so third for this part 1 recap is Annie and David. So Annie and David meet up with Ashley and her kids and her man, who was kind of cute. His name was Oscar. He was not a bad looking dude. I was like, okay, Ashley. Ashley be pulling them in. All her kids were a little swirl brown, so I see she has a type. But anyway, they meet up at the zoo, and they're going to have a fun family day, right? Wrong. David's having a good time with his grandkids, and they're looking at David's cousin, the orangutan, in the cage, and they're having a nice old little time, and Annie just isn't here for it. Annie knows that Ashley doesn't like her, and Annie just ain't with the crap, honestly. She does not want to put forth the energy to even be fake and act like her and Ashley like each other, so she just saunters off to herself and plays on her phone while the family's having their family day. In her interview, she admits that she felt kind of bad because David already has a whole entire family without her. She says that the whole reason why she wanted to marry David was so she could have her own children and her own family, and just coming to this family day only further made her realize that David got a whole squad, and he doesn't need to make a family with Annie because he already got kids and grandkids, and honestly, it's kind of making her question why she stayed with him. So they interview Ashley and Oscar, and they're basically saying that they don't know Annie at all, and that Annie could have put forth a better effort to be friendly or hang out with them or spend time with the kids, and she could have. Now, y'all know I'm kind of team Annie just a little bit, even though I know that Annie was sort of part of this whole scam to, you know, come to America and make a better life for her family. But that's really all Annie wanted. Even though she was using Chris and Nikki's money, and I think she knew that Chris and Nikki's money was mixed up and involved, she really just wanted to make a better life for her and her family. And oh gosh, I kind of feel bad for her, but at the same time I see their sides. She could have put forth a little bit more of an effort, because she didn't put forth any effort, honey. She was not here for it. She was not with it. Ashley was real composed this episode, but I think Ashley's one of those girls who, in front of her kids, is like an angel, but then when her kids ain't there, she can turn up on the kid in 2.2 seconds. Yeah, she's one of those kind of mamas that, like, when her kids are around, she's like the loving. If you ask her kids, I bet they're like, my mom's so amazing, she would never hurt a fly, but then when her kids aren't around, she ready to swing on somebody. I think Ashley's that kind of mom. So she was real composed. Her man was there, so she was being nice, Ashley. But I really think that she can flip the script in a second. They're still at the zoo, and you know, they're just having a good time, and they call Jacob, and Jacob is looking a little bit better. His face is still a little puffy, but he sounded better. He looked like he was in good spirits. And Ashley and Oscar don't understand why Annie didn't come over and talk to Jacob when they FaceTime him. And I know why Annie didn't come over and talk to Jacob when they FaceTime him, because Annie doesn't care. Annie didn't care when Jacob got shot. When Jacob got shot, Annie was sitting, David was about to cry, burst into tears, and Annie was sitting there like, it's okay. So I don't really think Annie is too attached to David's kids at all. I'm not saying she wishes any evil on them, but I just don't think she cares. Fast forward, her and David go sit down at a little restaurant. I don't know if they ate, but they went to sit down and talk about why Annie was in such a bad mood that day. And so Annie basically tells David, hey, I want to have kids with you. In his interview, David basically says that if it weren't for Annie, would he want to have babies and start all over and change diapers? And he's like, no, who wants to change diapers? But because of Annie, he's willing to do it. Lie. So Annie's basically pouring her heart out and saying she wants to have kids, and she wants him to keep the promise that he made to his family. But my thing is, David has made a lot of promises at this point. He didn't promise to pay back that dowry. He didn't promise to give her a family, and he ain't making good on any of them. So can we move on? Then we find out that David has had a vasectomy, which I had no idea. I don't know if I missed it before. I don't know if he said it one time and I just wasn't listening. I don't remember ever hearing David having had a vasectomy, but apparently he has. David claims to be 48, but I'm pretty sure he's not a day younger than 68. And he had a vasectomy because he's done having kids. But then when he met Annie, he told her that he was willing to reverse it. They just got to get their money right. Right, David. Just like you got to get your money right to pay that $15,000 dowry back. Ain't gonna happen. Annie is basically tired of David's lies. She is tired of the BS, and she calls him out on it. He promises that when they get on their feet, he's gonna come up with the money and they're gonna go talk to a doctor about reversing the vasectomy. He's gonna give her the family she always wanted. Well, child, Annie said, I don't believe you. I'm done with believing these lies. You've made 10,000 promises to me up until this day, and not a single one of them has come to fruition. I'm living in a firehouse, driving an old raggedy car with no money. You still ain't got no job. My dowry hasn't been paid back. I'm not gonna have no kids. I think Annie is starting to see finally that she married the wrong American, that David doesn't have any coin, he doesn't have any of the things that he promised her that he had, and that her life in America is a lot worse than she thought it was going to be. I feel sorry for her, honestly. I mean, she was like in FISA. She just wanted to be luxuriating in America, and now she got to be struggling, and she can't even have a baby to make her happy. I mean, this man has brought her over here for what, girl? For what? David has brought her over here and just told her all these lies, and for what? I don't even understand why she's here. She need to go on back home. I told you, Annie, remember our plan. We can still do it. Go on back home, girl. I'm really happy that Annie is finally seeing through David's lies and is fed up and basically told him, no, I don't believe you. Like, no, I'm not falling for the bullcrap anymore. You got to show me. I'm only going to believe what I see. And these words don't mean anything to me. So good for Annie for standing up for herself and seeing through David's lies and basically calling him on his BS. But that's it for part 1. I went through the first 3 couples, so stay tuned for part 2 for the next 3. Thanks for watching, y'all. Bye.